Hi everyone. Welcome back to A Sky Full of Stars, episode 29, where Akito is going back to the abandoned station with the abandoned train after visiting it with Hikari and Saya earlier during the day. So, while they were visiting their old secret base or the secret observatory, Akito had to go to work. But then at work, he was able to talk with Miharu and kind of learn more about her. So, everyone pretty much were inspired by Miharu when she was a teacher, and even pushed Saya to work hard and enter the Seisen Girls Academy. But for some reason, Miharu quit because she couldn't handle teaching anymore. So when their old school closed down, Miharu decided not to find another place to teach. But she does remember that she inspired Akito, Hikari, and Saya to do astronomy. And she even has the old notebook that Akito, Hikari, and Saya had, and they were going to submit it as one of their projects. So let's see what's going to happen next. And I wonder if Hikari and Saya really did leave, as Akito is, I'll say, suspecting. So after leaving the forest path, I found myself at the old station, now as quiet as a grave. And usually I've gone home by now. So why did I come back here without calling ahead? Well, knowing these two, they're probably still in there. So as I tried to convince myself, I heard the muffled sound of a conversation inside the train car. So I'm pretty sure Hikari and Saya are still here, even though Hikari has to ride the train to get here, and Saya probably has to take the bus. And I could make out Saya's voice. So she was talking to Hikari about something. Okay, so they're talking about Akito. So what did they talk about me all along? I paused outside the door and held my breath.
大丈夫でしょ。なんとかなるって。先生のお母さんにも気に入られてるんでしょ。まあ、結婚はやりすぎだと思うけど。
Okay, so they're talking about that little statement that Akito brought near the end of episode 27.
そうじゃないの。そういうんじゃなくて。
Well, I think they're more concerned about Akito and his life. And it's like, well, the way that he's living, it's not really good. He's suffering. And like him being married to the teacher is just a little bit of his real problem. He's living alone in a school building.
このままだとアキト君、山の人になっちゃうんじゃないかって。
And yeah, so apparently when he does get kicked out of school, it could mean that he's just going to go camping and just live all over the mountains. So the word I'm looking for is like he's living primitive, just be enjoying nature. Even though I'm sure Saya and Hikari are hoping that he could be living in a much more prosperous future, more like a regular person, than to be some kind of camper. A mountain guy. Does she mean a mountaineer?
この前テレビにね、山にこもって忍者の修行をしてるおじさんが出てたの。
And it's like, well, he hides in the mountains, and that's kind of bad.
ああ、知ってる。見た見た。森の中で一人で手裏剣とか鎖鎌の練習してたおじさんだ。
Well, I don't think it's like that.
それを見てて思ったの。アキト君がああなっちゃうんじゃないかって。
Well, even though it's not going to be as extreme as what Saya is saying, or what Hikari is saying, I'm sure they don't want Akito to be anywhere near that.
私、ひげもじゃでお風呂にも入らなくなったアキト君におでん届けるのかなって。
And we do see that Saya is trying to help Akito by giving him oden frequently, and that's why Saya gets labeled as the commuter wife. Well, Saya, I didn't realize you were worried about me like that.
Huh?
So I wonder if they could hear from outside. Or I think it's Akito walking into the carriage.
アキト
Well, I'm sorry for making you worry. I really am. I said apologetically. And the image of Saya coming all the way out here to bring soup to a wild shaggy mountain man had really touched me. But you don't have to worry. I don't plan on becoming a ninja. Well, I don't think the ninja is the problem. It's the fact that he's going to live primitive. Saya nodded, still not totally convinced. Does she have that little faith in me? I guess I couldn't blame her after everything I'd done.
何しに戻ってきたの
So by the way, why did you come back here? But didn't they both understand that Akito had work to do? So Hikari spoke irritably. She probably didn't enjoy my previous exit. Well, I figured you two would still be here. And I thought it would be just like you two to decide to stay here overnight without actually preparing anything. Saya and Hikari share an easy glance. Looks like I was right on the mark. Whomp. So I think they're gonna sleep in this car. I dropped my mountain climbing backpack that I brought with me onto the floor. And after work, I stopped by the club room to collect it. Okay, so I brought blankets and sleeping bags and extra layers as well. So what provisions? Okay, so I think he did have a suspicion that these girls were going to sleep over at this train car. And it's like, well, if that's the case, then I might as well just join with them. Their eyes lit up when they saw the mountain of snacks tumble out from my bag from the convenience store. Like, oh, I'm sure you two are hungry, so why don't you help yourself?
実はお腹空いててどうしようかって話してたんだよね。
Well, it's going to get colder from now on. You'd really be in trouble if you stayed out here with no food and no way to keep warm. Well, but in the train car, we did see that there's so much stuff in there, so I'm pretty sure they can use it to help them stay warm. And I did see some blankets in there. So didn't these two ever plan ahead? In that respect, they hadn't changed at all. Sai had come a long way, but she still had her blind spots. So I got dinner ready, grumbling all the while. I set my portable stove and poured some bottled water into a pot. So basically, I would say like instant noodles. So you see cup ramen, some other brands, not sure, maybe Needles. And it gets Hikari excited. Interesting. But then again, instant noodles isn't really healthy. high sodium, and they probably use preservatives that are probably not good for your body. So we waited for the water to boil and then poured it into our noodle cups. And everything stayed still for those 3 minutes was too much for the girls. They kept fidgeting and checking their watches.
3分経った。いただきます。いただきます。
So they must have been pretty hungry to enjoy such a simple meal that much.
こういうところで食べるカップ麺ってなんでこんなに美味しいんだろうね。
Well, the fact that I'm eating with other people, that makes it quite exciting.
わかる。すごく温まる。
Hey, help yourself to rice balls as well. And this bag of potato chips, I got it from Miharu-san. So Miharu-san had managed to scrape together enough pocket change to contribute to our food for the night. So the delicate young maidens before me wolf down the feast of carbs and fats like a couple of bears getting ready to hibernate. I had to admit, I was getting hungry too, and soon yield to temptation and join them. And after we calmed our raging appetites a little, I took the notebook out from my bag and showed it to the others.
何?
So I wonder if they remember what this is. Or maybe it's too dark for them to see it properly. I shine my flashlight onto the thread bar's old book. So Miharu-san gave this to me.
なんで先生が?
I looked over at Saya. Her eyes were downcast. So apparently Saya handed it in.
テープで直してある。これもサヤがやってくれたの?
So Saya nodded silently.
そうだったんだ。
Hikari carefully picked up the notebook and opened it. It was full of the notes we made on the stars and planets throughout the years, along with illustrations drawn in color pencils. In every place that was torn felt like a fresh wound in my heart. Hikari seemed to feel the same.
ごめん、サヤ。本当にごめん。
So I wonder what happened in the past. And I remember there was that little screenshot or event where they had an argument. Oh, I'm sorry, Saya. So they both put our hands together and begged for forgiveness. And Saya just shook her head.
光とアッカンに喧嘩してほしくなかったの。仲直りしてほしかったから。
So I wonder what happened.
もう喧嘩なんてしてないよ。ね、アキト。
So she clinged on to Akito, like, "Hey, we're not fighting anymore, right? Right? Well, yeah, we're friends again, just like the old times." We put our arms around each other and forced ourselves to smile. So Saya stared at us and then giggled. So Hikari was enchanted by her innocent smile.
ありがとう、サヤ。やっぱあんたが大好きだ。
So Hikari bounded forward and hugged her old friend.
こぼれるよ。
Hey, you're gonna smell noodles! Or, I'm still hungry, I haven't finished yet. Oh, thanks, Saya. The Saya's kindness was enough to melt the bitter feelings I buried away deep inside. And before we knew it, We were all laughing, our hearts lighter now.
美味しかった。ごちそうさま。
So Hikari was first to finish. She drained her cup to the bottom and slammed it down on the floor. Well, I'm done as well. I tossed my disposable chopsticks into the empty cup. Saya began to hurry through her meal. Hey, don't leave me behind. Oh, come on. You don't have to rush. Take your time, and you're gonna choke yourself if you eat too fast. There you go.
ごちそうさま。あったまったね。ありがとね、アキト。ありがとう、アキトくん。
Oh, you're welcome. So a little thing like this was nothing. Well, it's getting close, so I'll get the blankets. And as the night wore on, the temperature was steadily dropping. I figured it'd be best to wrap up while we were still warm. So while I got things ready, Hikari went to the window. She looked onto the nightly deep, or looked out into the night, deep in thought. And? So maybe she was wondering if she could still make it in time for the last train home.
それよりさ、お風呂入ろうよ。
Wait, what?
お風呂？
So where?
ほら、あったじゃん。小さい露天風呂。
Open air baths? Oh yeah, that's right. So across the mountain was a thriving hot springs area, but a few natural springs were dotted around the site as well. And there was an old man that lived up here and had one all to himself. So we asked him if we could use it any chance we got. And that old man left years ago, so I bet no one lives here anymore. So the train line was abandoned, and driving out here would be a real hassle. And thanks to the dam, the town at the foot of the mountain was gone. I was pretty sure that everyone had moved away by now.
行ってみようよ。温泉は残ってるかも。
Yep, just as impulsive as always, Hikari. Well, admittedly, I was curious about whether it was still there, too.
あった。
Okay, so it looks like the hot spring water is still here.
あったよ、露天風呂。温泉だ。
Well, I can't believe it's still here after all these years. So the open air bath sat where it had always been, in a small clearing in the woods. The surrounding rocks, wet from steam, radiated heat throughout the clearing and blanketed the area in comforting warmth. And we all poured to soak up the heat and warm our bodies that were still chilled from the walk.
あったかい。生き返るよ。
So obviously Hikari's all happy. He's like, wow, the old times all over again.
本当だね。
Well, I don't see any signs of it being used recently, so it should be okay. So I scooped up some water with my hand. So the temperature is perfect. So how should we do this then?
そりゃ入るっしょ。
Let's go in. Well, I know that, but who goes first?
いいじゃん。一緒に入っちゃおうよ。昔みたいにさ。
Are you sure about this? Wait. Wow, you haven't changed at all. It's like, well, now that we're older, maybe we should have turns. Like, you two go first because you're women, and then I'll go last. Although she did look quite a bit mature.
なーによ。あんたが恥ずかしがることじゃないでしょ。恥じらわなきゃいけないのは、裏若き乙女の私たちなんだから。ねえ。
So Hikari's like, well, I don't mind, but I'm sure that's not the case for Saya. All I could do was pray that she wasn't kidding about them dying of embarrassment.
それとも、私らが入ってる間、寒い森の中で一人で待ってる？
So you're gonna wait in the forest being all cold?
言っとくけど、覗いたらそこの岩の上でパイルドライバーだからね。
But hey, if you really take advantage of this, then don't be afraid of me trying to attack you. That sounds like an actual death sentence. So I wasn't going to try to make sense of standards that said peeking was a problem. But so taking it back together isn't. Saya was staring at me as if she wanted to say something. She's probably thinking that she didn't want me in there with her. That's what a rational person would think. Well, it's cold. I guess I'll get in with you. It's dark too, so I can't really see anything.
そうこなくちゃ。
Great. Perfect. So how about you two head over there so I can get undressed and get in.
はーい。
No peeking, okay? Well, can at least say something. Jeez, are you guys even serious about this whole thing? So I stripped down, unconcerned, and then folded my clothes and placed them on top of the dry rock. And then I dipped a toe into the steaming spring very cautiously. Ah, this feels nice. And it felt perfect. I slipped into the water slowly, letting myself adjust to the heat.
ねえ、まだ？
Hurry up, says Hikari. So I think the bigger concern is that if Akito decides to wait, she's afraid that Akito's going to peek from a distance of Saya and her in the hot springs from a very bad angle. And that's, in a sense, considered worse for Hikari than actually going into the waters with Akito. Or like ultimately going in at the same time.
湯加減どう？
So how's the water? Oh, it's perfect.
だって。
So it seemed like Saya wasn't at all comfortable about taking a bath with a man, but she also couldn't resist the temptation of the hot spring.
じゃあ私らも入るからあっち向いてて。
Yeah, sure.
ちらっとでも振り返ったら。
And if I see you making a turn over here, well, my guess was that she would have gouged my eyes out before holding me underwater and stomping all over me.
さやが泣くわよ。
And more importantly, you'll make Saya cry. So, don't do that. The Saya met my gaze with eyes that seemed to plead for something. Well, she was serious. She would really cry. Or she really would cry. So I turned my back to them without saying a word. And I sank into the water up to my shoulders as I waited, and eventually heard the fluttering sounds of clothing being removed behind me. And for whatever reason, the sound of those two undressing excited me a little bit. Hey, but Akito promised not to turn one bit at them. And knowing that I shouldn't look, but could have I wanted, made the situation this much more intense. And maybe if I did look back, I could have passed it off as a joke. Well, come on. Hikari's reaction aside, Saya would really cry. It's like, well, as much as I can take Hikari's beating, I'm sure it's worse if I make Saya upset. And so Hikari wouldn't take it as a joke if Saya cried. So I was certain to end up at the bottom of that spring. And I put the temptation out of my mind and kept on waiting.
今ね、私たち下着だけだよ。
Okay, so ready? You turn around now.
おっと、今サヤがブラのホックを外しました。肩紐を外し、そして、おお、これは。
Is he trying to make Akito jealous?
もうやめてよ、ヒカリ。
Okay, now my urge is going up.
サヤのブラ可愛いね。どこのやつ？
Oh, but you're cute. I wonder where you got this and that and...
お母さんが買ってきてくれたんだから。寒いから早く脱いで入っちゃうよ。ためらいなくパンティーを脱ぎ捨てた。さやったら大胆。
Well, Hikari shouldn't be talking this much if she doesn't want the unexpected attention from Akito.
アキトが今にも振り返るかもしれないよ、さや。
I can feel Sai starting, or staring a hole into the back of my head.
アキト君はそんなことしないよ。聞きましたか、アキト選手。
Oh, come on, Akito. You know you are kind of interested in this. Of course I wouldn't. I respect the spirits of fair play.
じゃなくて、今のはアキト君になら見られたってまあいいしくらいのニュアンスだったよ。
Huh?
もう変なこと言わないで。
Whatever you say, just getting already. All this heat is going into my head.
はーい。よいしょっと。
Here we go. So at some point, Hikari had quickly slipped out of her paint as well, and I heard footsteps approaching. And there was a splash of water right behind me.
でも気持ちいい。
So Sai lets out a beautiful sigh, and small ripples lapped against me as I heard those two settling into the water, or setting into the water.
もういいよ。
Okay, so you can turn around now. Okay. Okay, so they're in the water. And I do apologize about the little screen that I put up. But it is better than what happened with Corona Blossom, where I had to cut out everything. Especially when, in that scene, Kumiko was teasing Shino because she had a nice body with a full bust. It's like, well, you should have used it to attract your dear Keiji more. But anyways, I turned around slowly to find a miraculous scene unfolding before my eyes. Two girls my age bathing in the nude.
気持ちいい。
Although Hikari was fully relieved from the outset, Saya looked like she was on the edge due to my presence. Well, I still don't feel comfortable being in the same waters with Akito like this.
生き返る。
But then again, we're childhood friends, we've seen each other for pretty much all our life, so it shouldn't be a problem.
光、腕上げると見えちゃうよ。
Since I heard to show Hikari from the view when she stretched and her chest almost left the water. Damn, why did it have to be like this? Or why did she do this? The water was a perfect temperature, not all lukewarm, but not all too hot. And as the heat replaced the chill in her body, Saya began to relax. She was really enjoying our hot spring bath.
来てよかったね。
So now you see that Saya is all happy, all relieved, relaxed.
でしょうに。
So Hikari said this eagerly, almost as if she were responsible for the pleasant feeling of the hot spring water. I was so thoroughly relieved by the water that I even forget to tease her for that.
さやのお肌白くてスベスベだね。いいな。
But you know, Saya, you have qualities as well. You have a nice... Like, your skin looks beautiful.
光、くすぐったよ。
Oh, come on, let me feel it. It's all good.
ここか。ここがええのんか。
Wait, does that make you tickle? Maybe I should tickle you over here.
もう、やめてったら。
So Hikari and Saya began playing like a couple of friendly puppies.
光だってスベスベだよ。
But you know, you have good skin as well.
そうかな。
Really?
こことか。
どうした？
What do you mean?
ちょっとびっくりしただけ。すごく柔らかいんだね。それに重かった。
え？ああ。
So it seemed like Saya had somehow brushed up against the other parts of Hikari that matured the most.
触ってみる？
So I think Saya's like, oh, your tits are big. I'm jealous. And it's kind of like what happened during that bath scene with Corona Blossom.
Can I supersize this?
Hi everyone. So unfortunately, I had to cut some parts as well. And it was expected because this is a bath scene. So obviously, Hikari let Saya touch her boobs. And when Saya did, Hikari was kind of showing off, like, oh, so do you admit that I've grown to a really mature, beautiful lady? And for the entire time, they had no idea that Akito, or they forgot about Akito being in the same waters with them. And it kind of got Akito's attention. And he started wondering, it's like, yeah, they're mature bodies and such. And now Hikari and Saya noticed what was going on. And Hikari's asking Akito, so, what are you looking at? Nothing really. It was dark and steamy, and I can't see anything. And I wonder if they're gonna believe this.
恥ずかしがることないよ。男の子だもんね。
Oh, come on, I understand. You're a guy. You get attracted by this. And it pretty much is like what happened with Corona Blossom with the bat scene. Well, it was more like Kumiko trying to tell Shino, hey, if you really like Keiji, maybe you can use your assets to attract him more and get him closer to you. But obviously the conversation then went to like, so I wonder why you two were always close together. So she folded her arms and nodded, her face saying that she fully understood. But what about Saya? And beside her, Saya covered her chest and sank into the water up to her shoulders. Well, don't look. Hey, are you sure you're not the one incapable of shame? That conversation you just had was pretty bold.
あるよ、失礼な。
Well, I can't handle it. I do know you very well, and...
でも、アキトとこうやってお風呂入るの初めてじゃないし。
But you know, it's kind of... It's like the first time in many years since we went to bath together, and it kind of is different. But you know, we were kids back then. And that was more than 4 years ago. it would have been a fairly major problem in a girl her age if her sense of shame hadn't developed at all since then. And actually, I had been pretty embarrassed by the whole thing at the time. I remember how Hikari pushed us all into getting in together. But I think for Hikari's sake, well, you know, we're childhood friends, we've seen each other, we've been together for a long time, so it isn't really anything embarrassing that we're just doing the same thing that we did many years ago. And remember how I had seen Saya nude and how she cried. Hikari approached me, the expression on her face saying she had something on her mind. So I wonder if Akito's gonna jump out of the water. That'll be exciting. Yeah. Yes? It definitely sent a jolt through me as she pressed up against me in her usual way, only naked. Hey, you know that picture? Oh, I'm pretty sure we know what the picture is. And I did cut it out a few times in my Let's Play videos. Yeah, and so? Well, that wasn't mine. Huh? Wait. I forgot all my caution and grunted out a partial question and in confusion. Wait, your dad's? So I thought about Hikari's father. He was a big man and had a beard, a fair-skinned, chubby guy who wouldn't seem out of place standing alongside Santa Claus. You mean your dad like the one I know? So I wonder about Hikari's father. I wonder if he's super overweight, and that's why he has cleavage. Really? Hey, you fool me? That's way worse. You trampled all over an adolescent boy's innocent affections. Okay, so she was kidding. Okay. So I just want to see your reaction to that. You little creep. I clenched my fist under the water and my body shook with anger. So, did it turn you on? Was it good? Wait, what? So I wonder why Hikari wanted to test Akito's reaction as Komako back then. Hikari said with an oh crap expression on her face. Wait, I didn't. Oh. So I wonder if Hikari wanted to see Akito all upset and... Well, I didn't. I hadn't, but, you know... And I was glad I hadn't, from the bottom of my heart. But... the truth was, I had been excited every time I looked at it. And he got so excited that he even shared it with Takeichi. And Takeichi's like, you got a good one, Akito. She really was a she-devil. So what's wrong with the dad? You know, well, this is between us, so forget about it. You don't need to be involved in this conversation. Huh? Really? So Hikari returned to Saya's side and whispered to her.
後で教えてあげるね。
Hey, don't tell her no matter what. It's gonna make Saya all upset. The fact that you're teasing me in a really bad way and you're trying to make Saya jealous. So Saya cocked her head to the side cutely and then stared at Hikari and me.
何よ、二人だけ。
It's like, I just wonder why you two are this close together and what's your relationship status? Like, what is it that brings you closer together versus me?
ほら、さやが拗ねちゃったじゃん。
I think that's Hikari. Hey, it's your fault, not mine.
まあ、平たく言うと、アキトが私のおっぱいを見たがってたって話。
Hey, hold on. It's not like that. And don't look at me like that. Don't give me that expression. It's not what Hikari said. I wonder if there's anything nearby that I could gag Hikari with to shut her up for a while without hurting her. Well, give up. Just say whatever you want. So I turned my back on the two of them and fell silent. If I handled it wrong, the two of them would have teased me even more. And I wonder what happens if Akito decides to leave the bath early and leave them two alone. Oh, that'll be kind of sad, but at least it'll show Saya and Hikari that Akito isn't easily fooled.
じー。ねえねえ、ちょっと聞いてもいい？
So what do you want to ask me?
もしかして今、勃起してたりする？
Wait, what?
ねえ、さや知ってる？男子ってエッチなこと考えて興奮すると勃起するんだって。
Hey, look! You see that Akito is kind of stumbling. It means he has really dirty ideas in his mind and he's trying to hide it. And I just had to push a little bit more to get it going. See?
そうなんだ。
Hi everyone. So unfortunately, I had to cut out the rest of the conversation. So what happened was that as Hikari was teasing Akito about the photos that she sent him as Komako, Saya was asking what was going on, and it was so uncomfortable that Akito turned away, and then Hikari told Saya, "Hey, I think Akito's getting all aroused, all turned on, all excited by us in the waters with him." And then she mentioned, "Oh, I think his little thing is growing," and it shows that he's getting all aroused. And at first, Saya is all suspicious, looking at Akito with, I'll say, like those serious eyes. And then Akito tried to deny it, but Hikari's like, "Oh, but I don't think that's the case." And then Saya gets all upset, like, "So I think that was what was happening with Akito." And then they kind of had this little conversation, like, "Well, how about you prove it to us by showing it?" And it just got so inappropriate. But at the end, they decided to have a fair deal. So Hikari and Saya both came out of the waters, and that's what we see here. So I think it's like, well, I'm pretty sure Akito does admire you, Saya, as well. Even though you don't look as mature with a full body like me, I'm sure you do have your special traits as well. And I think that's what Akito prefers. So I wonder how Akito's going to respond to this. So the two rose to their knees in the water, then moved their hands aside. Wow. So, peering through the thin wall of the vapor over the hot spring, my eyes beheld them. So, real breasts up in my view. And Hikari drew my eyes first. And they swayed and bobbed, still shaking from the motion of lifting herself out from the water. And although it's a bit of a tired expression, the way movements reminded me of trash pudding or fresh pudding. And they were full of round breasts, but they still gave off a sense of firmness. But still, I couldn't see everything I wanted. And the still billowing from the water was too thick, and it hid the full view from me. Even so, I could see enough to know that they were real, and they were magnificent. But on the other hand, Saya's were small, and rather modest in size. And unlike Hikari, they barely shook when she rose, but they were still incredible. And clear droplets of water traced seductive paths down her gentle curves over her pale, translucent skin. And she had a beautiful, ever so slightly youthful, her chest instead of her full breasts. And even though that youthful swell of her chest was fairly seductive, it actually made me see her as a woman even more. It was a pity that I still couldn't see everything through the thick steam. And the cute breasts were perfectly suited Saya, a beautiful and adorably embarrassed young woman. What do you say? Oh, well, they're amazing. I never thought of seeing them as a goal in my life, but in the instant I felt like I could die without regrets. If only it would clear up just a little bit. Well, this is way too much for Akito at this point. I could get a long shot at those beautiful breasts, and my life would be complete. Come on, can I just get a little bit of wind here to clear my view? Okay, done. This is enough. So they both sank down to the water, up their shoulders, at Hikari's heartless declaration, hiding the stunning breasts. So Hikari was embarrassed too after all. But even as that thought passed through my mind, their embarrassment at showing their breasts left me even more excited than before. No, there's only one thing to do now. I've been hoping that I'd get things back to normal downstairs, and then dodge the issue by giving them a peek at me when I wasn't excited. But the state of things at that point was more ferocious than I had ever experienced in my brief lifetime. Hey, don't forget our deal, so your turn. I understood, but why did Saya have a look of anticipation in her eyes? I guess the girls really were curious about these things in their own way. Alright, here you go. I answered graciously and took a deep breath. And under the circumstance, I had to show them. But these were friends. I had done all kinds of stupid stuff with them since we were little kids. And at that point, was there any way something so minor could have embarrassed me? Here it goes. So, filled with desperation, I launched myself to my feet. Hi everyone. So unfortunately, I had to cut out some more, and that part definitely needed to be cut out. So, even though what the girls offered to him was quite pleasing and relieving for Akito, when he offered his portion to Hikari and Saya, they both freaked out and screamed. And That's all I'm gonna say about the part I cut out. And for Akito, he's super duper embarrassed. And it's like, I lost all of my dignity as a human being in exchange for boobs. Okay, so now the bath scene has ended, and I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. So it was quite a crazy episode with that bath scene, and I can already sense that something is going to go wrong when Hikari wanted all three of them to be in the hot spring water at the same time. So Akito included. And it does remind me of some parts in Coco Function. And I believe that was one of the things that got the main character, Tayo, in big trouble. So going from someone of high honor, the student council president, to someone that everyone hates in school. But then again, Hikari and Saya have seen Akito naked as little kids, and they kind of don't feel as ashamed as a typical person would. Well, less for Hikari, maybe more for Saya, because Saya does have her dignity as a female person. Well, then again, I kind of feel that Saya's just jealous that, I look like a little kid compared to Hikari, who looks like a full mature lady. So, I wonder what's going to happen next, and it's time for them to go to sleep, and they want to sleep in this rail car, where it's going to be really, really cold tonight. So we'll see how all that happens next time.